Hey guys, Barney here from Legendex. Just want to talk about how to wash a four-wheel drive. So we've just done onto the beach. I was at Lane Cruiser Park just a week ago, so here's a few tips. Number one, anti-rust protection is a great little thing. So you can get electronic devices and other things. I would recommend, look, a little bit of inox. The old days, what we used to do, used to have the oil baths. You used to drive over an oil before you went on the beach. It's not a bad thing to spray a bit of inox all over your chassis rails. Be careful of, obviously, like grease points and anything that's moving practically. So just your chassis, your shafts, whatever you want to do, all that down, but be careful, don't do anything that's got grease or moves pretty much. So if you do that, it's just going to help with the washing. So here we're at the car wash, which I recommend come to a car wash because you're just going to leave all your crap here. I don't particularly want it big mud drops, big glance of sand on my driveway or on the grass at home. So, but what I do when I'm at home, just run a sprinkler, just a couple of minutes to loosen up the dirt. So you've got a lot of dirt in there encapsulated, so just get that out slowly by soaking it. So today, I'm just going to soak it first. Once it's soaked, then you kind of hose it. And it's not a bad thing to do at home, but there is a bit of a water shortage. So use high pressure. Another quick tip, don't use high pressure in the engine bay. And I'll talk about that a bit more in a second, but use high pressure all over the car and underneath, being careful of anything critical, which is in the engine bay. So you want to use low pressure there. So basically, remember one thing, we're at the beach, now we're cleaning it. Salt is the enemy, not the sand. Sand's not a problem. Sand doesn't affect your car in any way, really. The salt water. So if you've gone, you know, over a couple of big washes, or if you actually got salt, you need to get onto it pretty quickly because it is going to start rusting instantly. And if you leave it for long periods of time, you'll get a lot of rust. So I'm just going to run through a couple of little things on what I do. A few things that to keep an eye out for is, like, obviously your wheels are going to get mud, or at the beach you can get built up there, becomes unbalanced. So make sure you get behind the wheels. But basically your bash plate's going to capture stuff, everything it captures. So I get right underneath it. If I was at home, I'd be on ramps, or particularly at my place, I've got a high point where I can come and squirt underneath. I rotate the car and squirt underneath there, really get underneath that. So guys, a couple of things, rags. I don't use my best stuff when I wash the car the first time, and often I wash it once or twice, but I use a rag to get at some sticky points. So let's have a shoot round, I'll show you what I do. Okay guys, look, obviously got the high pressure. I'm gonna get into the wheel arches here, get right into it. Obviously mud and sand gets into places, but you would not normally think. The other thing is your wheels. Your wheels, if they get built up there, get unbalanced, you want your brakes, give it a massive hose out, get right in there. Bash plates, get on top of your bash plate. I mean, at the end of the day, if you don't do that, it's just gonna sit there. So the other thing with your wheels and your brakes, don't just drive on the freeway in a hurry once you high pressure them. Give them a couple of little brake tests, make sure they're working. I'm gonna get into it here. The other thing is, make sure you keep going till it's clear water. When it's clear, there's no more mud, no more sand. Now, again, start from the underside first. Give it a good soaking before you come on. I mean, normally it's a bit drier then. If you start from the top, you're lying on the wet ground. So it's not too bad today, but we're just gonna get into it. Get into your chassis rails, make sure you get everything dead set. Stick this thing in the chassis till it's clear, guys. Whenever you can, get on top of your spare tyres. Now it's a bit easier because I've got a tray, but you've got to be thinking, get up and over, get the mud on top of your bash plates, your spare tyres. You've got to get that off. So soak it first, and then it just comes off heaps easier. Okay, in the engine bay, you don't want high pressure. High pressure is going to damage your fins, anything precious. There's a lot of clips, hoses, a lot of things that can come apart. So basically, $2 degreaser. It is the best stuff. So I give this a good lather. As you can see, one side I've done a couple of minutes ago. Got in there, degreased it all, let it do its work, give it about 2 minutes normally. I'll brush, get into all the hard to reach spots, and a rag. Don't use your decent stuff, and you're trying to get it off. You don't want to leave that degreaser on. Degreaser is going to get into the muck, and you want to basically, wiping it down, the muck just comes off so easy. I mean, most of the dirt you're seeing here is from Cruiser Park a couple of weeks back. You can see how dirty that side is versus this side is, you know, pretty clean already. So it doesn't take much to give it a clean down. As you can see, it's pretty easy. So number one, no high pressure because you're going to damage critical functions. Degreaser, don't go crazy. There's some things you don't want to be spraying. If it gets on your belts, it's going to leave a bit of a noise. You just want to, you know, make sure nothing electrical is contacted with it. But basically, give it a clean with degreaser, give it a couple of minutes, and guys, a bit of elbow grease, because yeah, no high pressure in here. All right guys, in closing, a couple of things. This is a 4-drive clean, this is not a detail. So basically, get the mud off, do your proper clean a bit later. No high pressure in the engine bay. Start underneath, really soak it up. If you're at home, use a sprinkler if you don't have water issues like in Queensland. If you're coming here, just blast it first and then kind of, you can go back later and blast it again. Typically after a big trip, I'll do 2 cleans like today and come back tomorrow to really clean it out. Get into your chassis. If you've got a hose at home, stick it in there, wait till it's clean. That's the thing. Once that water goes from brown or salty to clean, that's the goal. Get the chassis clean. Wheel arches. When you're done, take it for a test run. Like vibrations while driving just shakes everything out of the car. At the same time, what it does, make sure you test your brakes. You've just given them a bit of a blast so it's nice and safe. So guys, inox straight after when she dries, protects it for next time or even before you go on a trip. Degrease in the engine bay. Couple of like, you know, bit of muscle work there, it's great. At the end of the day, take good care of your 4-drive, it's going to take care of you on the tracks.